other bands are going to come through as well. But yeah, as you mentioned, the Jarvan really good for lockdown. The difficult part though is that you're against like champions like Warwick, who can jump away with the ultimate, and Bessa can just jump over the Jarvan ultimate. Even Ornn as well. You know, Ornn is a champion that if he gets hit by a Jarvan ultimate, you can just use your third ability and knock up Jarvan and then stop any of the engage. So I think it's a difficult pick to prioritize early, because say for example now if Mumu picks like Ezreal, for example, is a good example. You know, Ezreal, you have another dash away. Like, where is the opportunity for Jarvan to then ulti? You can't ulti an Ambessa, you can't ulti a Warwick, you can't ulti an Ornn, you can't ulti an Ezreal, and then the champion just doesn't become that useful because you don't have that lockdown potential. So, in my opinion, it all comes down to like the ADC pick or just the bot lane pick in general here for Baguettes. You know, again, Ezreal goes way up in priority thanks to this, you know, the composition that's on the other side.
Yeah, seeing the Ziggs of the various bands here as well into the Dragon lane is going to be interesting, because we saw quite a lot of AP-orientated champions in the last match, didn't we? We saw like the likes of the Orianna, we saw Ziggs, even, I believe it was Morgana actually placed down there, or was she consistently just jungle? Yeah. So again, back to the AP meta that we used to see quite frequently. So it'd be nice to see some actual ADCs down there, like the Ezreal, maybe even the Zeri as well. We saw that quite frequently in the last circuit. But it looks like the Fiora is going to come through for the side of Aces, which is going to be pretty huge going against Warwick, right?
Yeah, I think you do have a lot of good single target damage from the Fiora. The big thing as well is that you can use her parry against the Fear, but it's very difficult to actually judge when the Fear is going to come off for Warwick. There's not a designated amount of time. Warwick has this great thing now with his third ability where he can actually use his Fear earlier. So it's actually going to be really hard to try and time that and try and use your parry at the right time. Yeah. However, Zeri does get picked though, as you mentioned. Again, another champion that works really well against Jarvan. Jarvan uses his ultimate. Zeri just uses the dash to get away. Lissandra, going to be the pick in mid lane here for random. Again, another champion that if Jarvan ultis, Lissandra can just use ultimate on herself. Like, this Jarvan pick just, in my opinion, just seems so useless this game. There is no one you want to ulti. There's no one you want to engage on, unless you're going for like a one-shot build and your main goal is just to one-shot Zeri. I don't know what Jarvan's game plan is going to be this game, because it's so difficult to engage on anyone on the side of Baguettes.
Maybe it was a little bit too early of a pick within the draft, right? Seeing that I mean, we don't normally see like a Prio Jarvan in the first two picks, so it's really interesting to see why the Jarvan was that. There's got to be some kind of explanation for it, right? But like you said,
it could just be comfort, you know. It could be that. I can't remember exactly what they were playing last week. I mean, it was a long time ago now. I don't remember what happened yesterday. You know, I'm getting old now, so I can't remember exactly what picks they were chosen last week. But again, it could be a comfort pick. It could be something that they've been practicing as well. Again, you know, Jarvan is very good when comboed with the Galio. You know, Jarvan ulti on top of Galio ulti, kind of similar to the way Camille works, but the problem is, okay, you ulti in with a Jarvan onto a Zeri. You then Galio ulti straight afterwards. Cool, you have the combo go in. Zeri can then just dash over the wall and escape. Like, there's just no way of Jarvan locking down any of these champions. The only one you can lock down is really Ornn. But then again, Ornn, you can just use your third ability up against the Jarvan wall, because that works as terrain towards Ornn's knock up on his third ability. And then you're knocked up anyway, so you're not going to do any damage, and then your engage becomes kind of useless. So, I mean, in my opinion, it's all eyes on Jarvan this game. Is all eyes on Shin in the jungle. You know, Shin really needs to be the player that needs to prove me wrong this game, in my opinion. You know, if he proves me wrong, and if he does well on this Jarvan, I will hold my hands up. But I just don't think this Jarvan's going to work in this draft.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he actually uses the Jarvan, because, again, we saw a point where Jarvan was going to be a little bit like the Vi, where it was the lethality builds, especially with the first strike coming through for the this champion in particular. But I feel like with only the Galio there, I feel like it needs to be that kind of tanky bruiser build that we normally see on the Jarvan. But yeah, I really want to see how Shin actually...
See that we still get some action in terms of EMEA. I mean, it's always great to watch the best players in EMEA perform. You know, as I keep mentioning, you know, the likes of Random, Mumu, UI, who I've watched now, which seems like my entire life, even though it's only been a few years, but it seems like my entire life has just evolved around these players and watching them and analyzing them. So, like I said, it's just so nice to see them still around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember Random from the Rick's GG days when I was probably one of the biggest fans, it seems, in the chat. Like you say, there was always the #2 place, and so really seeing what they can do, especially Random in the mid lane, right? He was always up into the Baron lane, but now he's fancying himself a bit as a mid lane hero.
Yeah, Warwick in the bot lane is very interesting. Not really too sure what the plan was. It looks like they went for a bit of a lane swap this time. So Lissandra staying in the mid lane and the lane swap putting the Zeri and the Ornn up into the Baron lane. So giving a bit more power over to the Zeri, but also giving more time for the Warwick to scale. But the engage came through from the Galio. Mumu does need to be a little bit careful. It's going to flash away. Oh, the knock up there from the Ornn is absolutely huge. One more auto attack, the flash forward. The auto attack from UI, and it's the Chinese duo in the bot lane taking first blood.
Well done there between the two Baguettes on that team there, right? I mean, played very well. The auto attack coming through just there, a little bit clutch onto the Fiora, so let's see what they could do here. We're seeing that Final Axe is just kind of just farming up, getting his gold up as well right now. But currently, there might be something brewing up here into the river at the top side. I'm not too sure what's going on here. Shin, hopefully, doesn't get caught out here. It would be a disaster for them to get caught out this early.
Yeah, for now, they're just going to go back to farming, which they're going to do pretty easily. I mean, getting an early kill onto this Ornn is really nice, and getting the early assist onto the Zeri means that the scaling is going to be so much nicer. Jarvan, though, is looking for a lane gank, trying to use the alcove to his advantage. Are they going to try and look for a play here? We're going to look into the bot lane for now, but doesn't look like there's a play happening just yet. But oh no, the Ornn flashes forward, and that's going to be a kill back over to Almighty Capybaras, and they're going to try and get a few tower platings here into the top side. So bit of a misplay, unfortunately, but oh, there's the wombo combo, baby. Not going to do enough damage though, unfortunately, but that's the combo that is extremely scary to deal with. The lockdown from Lissandra plus the Ambessa is so difficult to deal with, but actually Ambessa needs to be a bit careful here, maybe getting caught by the Corki. And this game so far has just been an absolute bloodbath. There's just fight happening left, right, and center. But here comes Warwick, baby. The ultimate onto the Corki. And that's going to be the kill over to Warwick. Level 5, the ultimate over to the wall, over the wall. And Shiyu takes a kill.
Yeah, the sniffer comes through there, which was nicely done by the side of Aces, getting another kill out. Well, one kill, the first kill on the board for themselves. So nicely played there by Aces. I think like that was something that was going to be just... oh, actually, no, it wasn't. Sorry, Roxy is the Warwick. I got a little bit confused because he was coming over from the red side jungle. But nicely done there. And like you said there, there's a lot of blood brawling going on in this match. And who's going to be the next victim? We are yet to be seen just yet.
Overall, in my opinion, I think this does favor Baguettes. You know, getting an early kill onto Warwick is really, really nice. You know, still is that a bit of a goal deficit because Fiora did also take the kill. But Fiora is going for mana crystal, so it's maybe going for mana immune. So the scaling of Fiora is going to be great, but her early game is going to be very weak with what she is looking at the moment. As Fiora maybe getting caught in this top side of the map, but the counter engage does come back on through. They're trying to catch out on the Ornn again, but the Ambessa here with the counter engage, and here comes Random as well, straight on top of anyone. The ultimate slows everyone in its path, and Ambessa is trying his best to get resets. Zeri takes another kill, and that's a great counter engage here, and Zeri just wants more. Dashes over the wall, tries to shut down the Jarvan, trying to get a little bit more damage. The exhaust comes through for the slow, but it's not enough. But still, Baguettes came what they were after, and that was food.
Absolutely. Lots of food for the side of Baguettes. Being able to pick up the three kills, was it that towards the end there?
2 kills, I believe it was.
Two kills from Zeri, yes. I mean, look at the gold difference between the Zeri and the Severe now as well. It's definitely getting out of control, which they need to kind of tap into and make sure they can sort of dampen on the side of Baguette with... I was about to say Baguette with Terror Crow. No, it's BPD. BPD. I was going to be retro there.
Bit of a throwback there, hey?
Bit of a throwback, yes, with the neutral objectives coming through now as well. We get the Ocean Drake first up. But I feel like we're going to see a bit more priority for the Herald, right?
Oh yeah, the Mimics are going to be a big priority here. I mean, the Mimics can do so much damage. You're actually seeing, at the moment, the mid lane priority is going to be the key here for Baguette, trying to push in that mid wave, trying to make you lose so much crowd control. The Warwick actually dashing in all the way onto the back line. Ooh. Actually, goes a little bit too far, but Lissandra, able to take one kill for now, is able to disengage and try and take Coot too. The Corki tried to use the package onto the back line, but it just wasn't enough. Lissandra's trying to clean up the fight. However, it does look like it's very messy and back and forth as well. The Severe is still alive onto the back line, but I think the Warwick is just way too strong right now. The extra damage does come on through. However, the Jarvan is alive, so the jungler is alive here for Almighty Capybaras, and it's going to be difficult for them to try and take this, but they will take the Hex Tech Mimic. This is huge now for Baguettes to try and secure that first tower. You can see the pings going into that top lane already. They know that if they put the Mimics into this top lane, then they can try and take the first tower.
Yeah, I thought Kalos was going to get a little bit of a kill there onto random, but he was just like, no, I know where to dip out. I know where to get my bits of farm and then just leave. But that was a great play by BPD once more, be able to get that Mimic. But Hans looking like he might be in trouble here. It's going to be Zeri and Ord trying to go for that 2v1. The basic attacks didn't quite land there to try and claim the kill up into the Baron lane. But it looks like they're just trying to get away with something here, which is Ace is getting that Ocean Drake, which is a little bit of just a consolation prize here for the team. They're just like, right, okay, we got completely owned at the Mimic camp. Let's just try and get that Dragon Soul and try and stay alive long enough to actually see that buff come to fruition, right?
Yeah, I mean, they were able to take trades overall. I mean, they lost the top lane tower and the mid lane tower. They were able to take the dragon and the bot lane tower. So overall, the gold advantage does go in favor of Baguette. But as you mentioned, that Dragon Soul can be a possibility. But I think the later this game goes, the scarier this team comp of Baguette becomes. So I think when it comes to the next dragon objective, they're going to be a lot stronger. They're not going to try and take towers. They're actually going to try and take the objective instead. You know, in 5v5 team fights, you have the Warwick, you have the Embessa, you also have the Lissandra. So there's so much AoE damage and so much catch potential that, in my opinion, it's going to be very difficult for Almighty Capybaras to try and take control of the next dragon. But again, trading towers, trading objectives, and not just, you know, going down without a fight is still, it still gives you hope for Almighty Capybaras. You know, 5,000 gold behind is pretty big, but they still have a little bit of gold in their bank to buy some items. Oh, seems like Blam's mic is muted again, so we're back again. So yeah, I mean, Zeri going through to the bot lane. Actually might get caught here. The Zeri has to be careful. Uses the dash to get over the wall and uses the flash as well. Oh, but there's so much follow-up. The double flash from the Galio and the Jarvan. And that is one way that the Jarvan ultimate can be good, is when the enemy champions don't have any dashes or flashes or anything like that. Oh, he tried to use the portal to escape. Unfortunately, wasn't able to, but maybe has the movement speed in time to be able to get it. Jarvan trying to use the Flagger Drag to get away, but is not going to be able to in the end. Secured at the very least to make sure that they can get another kill. So traded 1-for-1 overall. The Zeri does die, but the flash from Jarvan and the flash from Galio is also down. They're going to look for another engage here onto the top side. That is another kill over to Baguette. Warwick is now on a killing spree. Divine Sunderer is already completed, and this is the power of Warwick. You have so much sustain in the laning phase. You have so much crowd control thanks to the fear, and knowing that you can set off your fear at any time is just so helpful. And then you have your ultimate on top of that as well. Your ultimate just means that you can single target and do so much damage to anyone on the map, because you don't actually need to hit the first part of the ultimate. You can just ultimate and then just wait out your time and then use that empowered auto attack afterwards. And you can see right now that full control of this map is over to the Baguettes with a 6,000 gold lead. Yep, it's working. Oh, working for me, but not back on broadcast, I guess. All right, we're going to carry on with this game for now. We're going to see if they're going to be able to shut this one down. Baguette's trying their best to try and close out this game. can't really do too much more at the moment. They were trying to siege through the mid lane, but weren't able to do too much more with that one. I think they're just waiting out really for these objectives to spawn, and this is kind of the time of the game where you're really just trying to deny away as much jungle camps as possible, as much gold as possible if you're on the side of Baguettes, and you're waiting like 35 seconds for this next dragon. As I mentioned before, this next dragon is most likely going to go in the hands here of Baguettes. I mean, if the enemy jungler wants to suicide for it, he can, but then they probably lose Baron at the same time, so it can be quite difficult here for them to try and give it a go as they're trying to get a pick up into the Baron lane. Random actually misses the flash in the end, and the Galio ulti keeps the Corki alive, misses the flash and the CC onto the Corki, and the Galio ulti was huge for a disengage. That's 2 kills now for Almighty Capybara, and I was talking about maybe this dragon being secured by Baguettes, but now it seems like it's actually going to be Almighty Capybaras that can move into this bottom side of the map and try and take this second dragon. They're still looking for a fight though. Warwick is in the back line, but it's just not going to do enough damage. Severe using the flash away, and that's another kill over to Almighty Capybara. The package comes through from the Corki straight onto the Zeri. The Zeri is trying her damn hardest to do as much damage as possible, but there just isn't enough. Corki flashes over the wall. It's a triple kill and a delayed ace for Almighty Capybaras.
A complete ace there, which was great for them to come back into the game, right? Sorry about that little interval there. There seems to be a naughty elf within my audio, which is crazy. But there we go. Ambessa getting a double kill, shut down onto the Corki as well. Just as we see, well, Aces are just trying to claim some more of that Dragon Soul, and they are successful, be able to do it as well. So they could go for the Baron here. We've seen some... in the past circuit, some Hail Mary plays for the Baron as well, and hey, you've got to try it, because if you don't go for it now, the enemy team might just come around, especially with the Corki. I mean, there's no package here to try and intercept this, and they could go for it.
I don't know what Capybaras are doing. Like, I don't know how Corki got caught by Ambessa. You're just about to take Dragon. You can easily just take Dragon, go back to base, and be like, cool. All we need to do is stall the game for another 5 minutes. We take the Dragon Soul, and we're at a huge power spike. Ambessa catches out the Corki. Everyone is on the opposite side of the map. Jarvan's too busy clearing out his jungle camps. And Baron just gets taken for free for Baguette. So all this gold the Almighty Capybaras were able to take back with that ace and the Dragon... it's now completely worthless, because now the T-Hex is in the hands of Baguettes.
Yeah, and I mean, with the TX as well, it's pretty much a recipe for disaster when their lanes weren't looking the strongest either. Now that they have the TX in their possession, it's going to be even harder for the side of Aces to try and defend on these T2s on all lanes. You can already see here that Random and Roxy here are already just kind of pushing the Dragon lane here, taking the T2 down there, and they've already a lot of pressure in all of these lanes right now. And to be fair, it's hard for Aces to even try and come back from this. They are behind 5k gold. We said it was obviously a big marker within the gold lead differentials, but I feel like Aces could still come back into this, but they've got to make sure next time they get that gold lead, they have to do something with it, right?
Next time they get an ace, they need to do something more with it, but maybe they won't have time to get another aces. And Bessa's diving straight onto the Corki. The Corki's surviving for a little bit longer, but that doesn't matter. And Bessa uses a flash onto the backline. The resets are coming on through as well. The T-Hex is about to die, but I don't think it matters. The mid lane inhibitor goes down. The bot lane inhibitor goes down eventually. And that's a huge lead now for Baguettes. They don't really need much more in terms of the objectives or anything. All they need is to try and take down that base, and they've got that gold lead back, which they weren't able to get after a little misplay in the top side of the map. But now it's full steam ahead here for Baguette. 3 cannon minions in this top lane with Baron up wave. They're going to try their best to try and take this tier 2 tower in the top lane, but they're going to play it safe for now. They're just going to go back to base, play it safe, and look to try and go towards this next objective.
Yeah, it's a bit troublesome here for the side of Almighty Capybaras, right? I mean, Severe's not having her best game either. We've normally been seeing Young Riss actually be able to make this pick pop, and right now 0-1-5 isn't the way this is popping. Yes, they've been able to kind of make sure that the deaths aren't as high as they should be or could be, but just trying to use the Severe as maybe a utility marksman isn't quite working it here for the side of Aces. But I put it down to Baguette's just having such a strong team, right? All these players are very strong and they know what they're doing. Here is the combo here, trying to save the Jarvan is the Galio going in with the grand entrance. We've seen the knockups coming through onto the Ornn as well. Ornn goes down. No, sorry, not Ornn. It is Galio that goes down there. We've seen a lot of big boys just walking around in the lane. But again, that's another big part of Aces going down in terms of the front line. All they really have is Jarvan to try and get this engage.
I mean, in the end, it was Galio just trying to save the life of Jarvan. He was able to save the life of his jungler, which is really huge, actually. The Galio should be up in time to try and use his ultimate again to get into this Baron fight. But Ambessa doesn't want to wait much longer. Jarvan has to use a flag and drag to get away. Oh man, Baguettes have so much mobility. Really nice spell shield though from Severe, but it doesn't matter. Jarvan walks up, completely whisks the flag and drag, and that just means the Baron is now going to go over to Baguettes. There's no way really that they're going to be able to contest this. I mean, in the end, Almighty Capybara just has 0 damage at all. This Corki is going AP Corki with Leandries, trying to use the package in. Does get 1 kill. Actually does get the Galio ultimate as well to try and save him. But meanwhile, on the other side, Fiora goes down. The Severe goes down. The Corki eventually goes down. And Bessa is 1 versus 2. And it's an ace for Baguettes. And they're eventually going to finish this game and end game number 1 with a crazy 10,000 goal lead.
You can see what Ace Baguette was doing there. It was like, right, we're going to get an ace, and we're going to show you how to actually mobilize it and use it, right? And they were able to get the ace towards the end and take game 1 from Aces. So currently, Baguettes are up with the first win of the series, and it was a convincing win, right? They always had that 5k gold lead. We saw it one time where Aces were able to actually get an ace and try and do something with it, but Baguette was just like, hey, they have had the option, they've had the opportunity, and we've just now got to stunt their growth. And that's exactly what they did there, especially final wax on the Ambessa, right? 8, 2, and 5 MVP of Baguettes.
Yeah, overall doing crazy damage. You can see Warwick not doing that much damage, but just the utility that he brings was so good. But in my opinion, it was more of a misplay from Baguettes than actually Almighty Capybaras being able to secure the ace. You know, we saw the flash in the end from Rand. We saw the flash in the